Okay, this one is going to be probably a bit of a weird mashup, but I thought I would do this pitch because I kind of wanted to do just this in general because I found the idea of it a little interesting. If you've played Event Horizon, you have probably get some vague idea of what I'm going to be talking about. If you haven't, I sincerely recommend you go watch the film. Also, watch Film Comet Explains video on it. He has done a video on it, I think two or three, and he's also done one on, I think, a comic they made not that far back about what happened to the original crew of that ship, the Event Horizon. But I had this one idea one time when I was tinkering with just like ideas for a Mass Effect story. Like, okay, what if Shepard had a descendant who came to the Mass Effect Andromeda galaxy or whatever, or at least lived to that time period? And actually, I think someone did make a fanfic idea like that on a fanon wiki, so I guess you could go there for more. But then I was like, okay, why don't I add more notes about events that could have happened after Mass Effect 3? Like, just like go with assume this went this way, depending on the ending and whatever. And then I was like, okay, and was making like notes on like the family tree. And when I was making through these notes, I came up with the idea of, well, what if we had something that was similar to Event Horizon in the Mass Effect universe? Because, okay, the Reapers are gone now, for the most part. If there's any of them left, I don't know if they would be as much of a threat, because it sounds like the crop or the big portion of them are now gone, destroyed, or humanity's bitch. Let's be honest. Hashtag humanity forever. Or humanity first and all that. What would happen if someone in humanity decided to take the surviving Reaper tech and, or just in general, was like messing with technology in a way that we probably shouldn't be messing with? Because the idea of the Event Horizon was, okay, this ship has gone beyond the bounds of the known universe. Who knows where it's been? What if someone made a similar ship? In this story, let's call it the Ishimura, hypothetically. That was the name I called it in like the notes I was writing. And the other part of the idea is it comes back, they send some people to investigate and just explore the ship. Maybe one of them is a descendant of Shepard, like his great-great-grandson or something. I forget which one. Because the original idea I wrote, one of his descendants does go onto the ship. And they are one of the survivors to come back. So you've got them, Isaac Clarke. Actually, I probably should not have done this here, but yeah. So the idea is like there's this, and the whole idea is like the whole point of it is they go aboard and they kind of realize, wait, what the fuck is happening? And honestly, I find the idea of something in Mass Effect going to hell and coming back quite literally. Not that weird. I mean, we have the Mass Effect relays. If I remember correctly, I remember some friends were telling me they could rebuild them technically because I wasn't too familiar with Mass Effect lore at the time. Probably still ain't that too familiar with it. But the idea in this hypothetical timeline that they did do that, one of Shepard's, I think, grandsons, Leto, he became involved in mainly the tech field. He had a hand in not only rebuilding the Mass Effect relays, but expanding some of the science field, Leto. And so, okay, if we have this, what would make them go, okay, how can we explore very further and farther in a limited amount of time? And it's similar to the Mass Effects or whatever, or the Event Horizon, and then poof, it comes back, but the crew's gone. They investigate, and it's not just it's not just the Event Horizon. I would also like to add, because of an image you will hopefully be seeing next, it's also an element of Dead Space, where you do find some remains at first. There you just see glimpses of the previous crew's experience. Anyway, but yeah, so that's one of the pitch. I will now be getting to the main part of it, so have fun with that. So the concept for it is this: following the events of Mass Effect 3, humanity rebuilds, the galaxy in general rebuilds. And they're like, okay, if the Reapers are gone, maybe we can go further than we ever thought possible for it. And after this, they probably have access to some technology. Like, assuming some of the tech that the Reapers had access to was not destroyed completely, that to where humanity could not recover it. Maybe they also had access to this, although some of them be like, yeah, let's not mess with this because it's Reaper tech. God knows what would happen as a result of it. Like, some of them are being like the smart character in a Lovecraft story. Maybe we shouldn't fuck with this because it might fuck back with us. But okay, someone finds some of this, but this is like generations after the main of war is over with the Reapers. And then someone, maybe descendants of Cerberus, maybe a descendant of Archer, kind of get a bit too... They don't slow their roll, let's just say. And they want to go beyond what they know of FTL travel. And they kind of want to make something that is sort of the Event Horizon, where you have the Element Zero core from the Normandy, the second one, and the Gravity Drive in Event Horizon. They make this, they want to toy with it, they want to see what will happen as a consequence of it. And they actually do not go with it half-cocked. They actually plan it out. They're very careful. They find a crew to do the job, and then it just disappears. It's like, and this Ishimura, it goes into space, but it did not come back. The idea was they would go through, and then as soon as possible, they would come back after the thing had time to recharge. Or it had a cooldown timer, but it never came back. And it becomes like the Event Horizon, one of the worst disasters, like the Titanic of space. Or if there was a Titanic of space before this, it's now the second one, and it's actually considered worse. So you have this, and then then it mysteriously comes back. They're like, the Ishimura has mysteriously returned and has been basically, it's not moving. They have put it somewhere that's very far from any planet, to where only like someone can explore it to make sure it's safe at first. And they send a crew on. One of them is a descendant of Shepard. One of them is an Isaac Clarke type character, and they go exploring. And all these members look through there, and some of them are hearing voices. Some of them claim they are seeing things that shouldn't be there. Jacob is seeing, I don't know, a cousin of his who died horribly at the hands of slavers. Or Isaac Clarke is seeing his girlfriend who committed suicide some years ago. And all of this is messing with them. And then maybe they do find the remains of the crew, but they're no longer them. They're like the necromorphs. Or they're not there, and it is much like the Event Horizon, where they can't tell what it is at first, and some of them feel like they're losing their minds. And maybe they even find a recording, the audio of someone saying something, and at first it sounds like save blank from hell. And they think at first, well, maybe he's saying save me from hell, whatever's happened to him, it must have been really bad. And they're like, no, it's, I misunderstood it. I re-listened to it. I think he said save yourself. I think he was saying to blow this thing up. Like, assuming what they told us was true, this ship has been beyond the confines of reality as we know it. Who knows where it's been? Maybe it actually has been to hell. And maybe you do find footage similar to what is on the Event Horizon. And the main idea of this is then it becomes a case of some of them lose their minds, and Jacob Shepard, or was it Jacob Shepard or a different name? Either way, this current Shepard and the Isaac Clarke and some others who survived the event, they have to now contend with the fact that this large crew that they came with, at least half of them or a good chunk of them have lost their minds. And not only that, they've used it to make the situation worse. Maybe, again, I say necromorphs, could be something else, have found their way onto the ship. Maybe slavers have come to the ship also thinking they can either make some slaves or, maybe some scrap workers. Maybe they thought there would be some good gear they could salvage and sell on the market for scrap. But either way, the story is basically them trying to survive this horror. The slavers, they become either killed or converted into more problems, and they have to escape. And in doing so, they also have to make sure the ship is destroyed or the galaxy is exposed to another problem similar to the Reapers. This also would be a good way to explain why humanity doesn't try this again. Like, okay, we did this once. We're never doing it again. But sir, it's like, no, 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 no buts. Unless you're telling me you have a way to ensure that we never open another Hellmouth, never again. This goes on the ban. The council's banned the decree. This Potorabo shit, it's over. It's done. That's over, boy. That would be just the pitch. Is you have that. You also have things like some of the mechanics in Dead Space, like gravity. Like I would say also change it up from Mass Effect as we knew it, just a little, not fully. I still have the mechanics being, but it's like, okay, in most of the games you were either a soldier or an explorer. In this one, you're I guess an engineer or a techie class of humanoid in this galaxy. Have it relate to that where it's, okay, you have a gun, but you also have to be wanting to use it sparingly, depending on how hard the difficulty is. Collect, like, also kind of make it a little Resident Evil before it got all action-y, before 4. That would be just my pitch, is have this be that, and also have it be like your character can access some parts of the ship, but not others. Like maybe you have to pick which character you want to play as. Like, okay, one day maybe you're Jacob, one playthrough as Jacob Shepard, one is as this Isaac Clarke character, one is as Dag, and each of them has a specific type of speciality that allows them to access different parts of the ship. Or how you use skill points, like, yeah, really go back to the RPG elements of the first game. I mean, 2 and 3 had those, but I think 1 was more of an RPG than the other two. And Mass Effect Andromeda, I don't hate it, but yeah, it made the idea of a class system irrelevant. Didn't matter what you picked, you could basically be anything. But do that, maybe use gravity, because sometimes you'll have to go outside of the ship and you can't use like a shuttle or whatever, so you have to have like gravity boots and little thrusters to sort of do, like, again, in Dead Space or in Event Horizon, there was a character, and I'm blanking on his name. He was the other black guy who was actually pretty competent and good at what he did. He also actually had a pretty good personality from what I recall. But that's just the pitch in general, is Dead Space, Event Horizon, which kind of feels superfluous because the two are more or less the same, except Event Horizon's more psychological horror and like The Shining. But mix that with Mass Effect and maybe Resident Evil minus the zombies. And the whole necromorph thing, that is optional. Maybe you don't have to do it. Maybe it could just be a case of all the people you work with, or a good percentage of them, like maybe you're one of the 25% who didn't go crazy, they've all lost their minds, and they're doing everything they can to prevent you from leaving. And it's almost implied that the ship, much like the Event Horizon, if not is possessed, the creature from hell is messing with everyone, to where the main guy in charge is like, oh, it won't let us sleep. It won't let anyone leave. Like, I know, it's been to hell. Oh, hell's just a word, Shepard. The reality is far much worse. That would be my pitch, just in general. And that's more or less just the pitch in general. I probably could have done more, but that's all I could think to have on here. Also have to get ready for work here soon, so have a nice day. Yima Ohid. And the oldest and strongest emotion is fear. And the oldest and strongest fear of the human race is of the unknown. Bye-bye.